What's up? Welcome in. It is a Carmen V Wednesday on the CHGO Bears Podcast, presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO to live your bet life and get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Mark Carmen's not here today. He is atoning for his many sins. So instead, Kevin Kaduk is here with us, sitting in on a Wednesday.
What's up? Kevin Kaduk Wednesday, more than anything else.
I think
I'm always here, though.
All right.
I'm in here other days other than Wednesday and Thursday nights like you.
Okay, that's fair. All right. I mean, I'm
here a lot.
Fun. It's fun. This is fun.
I like that Northwestern shirt, too.
Home field. My buddies at home field. They're the best.
Too bad you're sitting between two Badgers right now in a week where Northwestern plays Wisconsin.
They have good home field. Home
that
field
wasn't
has
on
good
purpose
Wisconsin
at
stuff.
all. Actually, it wasn't.
I
But
kind of
wore
wore a Wisconsin shirt yesterday. I still have to be careful because I still know so many people at Northwestern and genuinely want them to win. And
Yeah. Well,
just
also,
not this Saturday.
I mean, Wisconsin's struggling too.
Not anymore. Jimmy V. Jimmy V. That was a different coach. Jimmy Leonard era starts now.
Are we're confident in that?
This is what we used to do this in the student section when he was returning a punt. The J and an L.
I see that now. Jimmy Leonard.
The whole student section would do that, and then he would return it for a touchdown.
That's
back
fun.
when you actually returned punts and kicks for touchdowns.
Can you remember a better news dump than the University of Wisconsin announcing it fired its head coach as the Packers were in the fourth quarter of a tight ball game?
Yeah, or were they in overtime by then, or was it?
I think it was still in the fourth quarter.
Okay, late fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Because Kevin and I talked later, because we both watched the press conference. I was like in shock when they were like 15 minutes into the press conference, and I think it's Patrick Herb does a great job over there in Wisconsin. He's moderating the press conference, and he was like, "Okay, any other questions?" And I'm literally in my living room. My wife's in the kitchen, like, right? I'm like, "Yes, I have questions. Yes. How is nobody saying I have a question right now? What is happening in this press conference? I have many questions." And they're like, it's just silence. I'm like, okay, thank you for attending the press
They should have
conference.
super chats for those press conferences.
I was like, nobody has a question. And then I remembered, oh, yeah, half the media is at Lambeau Field right now.
That's a good point.
Jim Polzine's at Lambeau.
Yeah,
Mike
Tom Oates.
Heller's at Lambeau. Tom Oates is probably on Twitter, retired, screaming at his TV watching this.
I don't want to give the Bears an idea for another revenue stream, but let's say they put up one question per Eberflus press conference up for bid. What would that go for?
Oh, for charity, they could do it.
Yeah. For charity, because there's absolutely no way any coach is going to agree to a fan question.
Why not? They agree to our questions.
Because they're legally obligated to in their contract. They actually have to meet with the media a certain amount of time.
Someone's mentioning in the comments because I tend to watch some press conferences now on social media since I'm not at all of them.
Right.
The comments that pop up,
Not great.
I'm not sure that Bears actually want to hire an employee to sit there and like sort through the comments that are as they're coming in. That'd be a tough job.
Poor
Adam,
intern.
you guys, I listened to
intern.
yesterday's show coming in.
Yeah.
I have two things. One, you guys talked about all the planets for a long time.
Yesterday got weird.
And nobody made a Venus Jones Jr. joke, which upset me.
Wow.
So I wanted to get that out.
I was going to say, you've been dwelling on this.
That was a dad joke.
Was that the problem? Was Venus Jones Jr. the one out there muffing that punt?
He was on
and not
another
Valus?
planet. Yeah.
That was the problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you say Venus, though, I think of Venus Williams, and she doesn't fumble the bag. So
No, she doesn't.
How long were you holding on to that, by the way? That Venus Jones comment.
About an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to surprise you on it. Other thing, I was 5'11" this morning.
Oh,
which
5'11".
I'm usually 5'10". I was a 5'11"er. The alarm went off. I was deep asleep, and then trying to turn it off, I hit the light.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
And then just like completely like floodlighted my wife. And she's like, "What's going on? What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, you gotta hold on." I didn't know the light was even on because my eyes were closed, but I now have a groundswell coffee. I'm good.
I was a very upset 5:30er because the 1-year-old was crying. She's not feeling too well today, and last night was a rough night, and so I was not a happy early riser today, and so it was a little cranky morning.
I got
over at the Hoge house.
Conversely, I had my tea this morning. I just, hung out, watched Good Morning Football, before I went to Pilates. It was very nice.
Nice.
I had a very nice morning.
That sounds nice.
You have no commute.
I have no commute.
Calm, relaxed, opposite of pretty much every one of my mornings. That sounds awesome. All right, let's talk about this. We back to work Wednesday, as we like to call it. Bears back at Hallis Hall, flipping the script to the Minnesota Vikings, coming off their win over the Saints. That was kind of a sneaky good game that ended up in London on Sunday morning. It was back and forth. It came down to a double doink.
That actually went in the way of an NFC North team this time.
Yes. And that one bounced. If anyone saw that, it bounced. The way it bounced, it looked like it should have bounced in.
It like when it first hit the upright, it was trending inwards, but then it caught the end caught the crossbar, and then that's what doinked it out. So it was like a.
What's the soccer term for a double doink? There has to be something.
Yeah, like when
I
I
don't
hit
know.
the crossbar.
That's a Lawrence question.
I mean, you hit the woodwork is usually what they say.
Hit the
when
woodwork.
You hit the woodwork
off the bar.
Back from like when soccer goals were made out of wood.
Correct.
Okay.
I don't know if there's many double doinks in soccer.
There's a decent amount of them. I mean, there's a decent amount in hockey.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I'll keep watching.
The difference is there's 3 shots every soccer game. So the amount that could be double doinked are way lower than the amount.
Arsenal outshot your garbage team that you apparently are rooting for with the stupid chicken logo. Outshot them 22-7 over the weekend and won 3-1. So suck that.
I have no idea what any of that means.
Spurs.
I went to one NFL game at Tottenham Stadium and decided I liked Tottenham's logo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've watched 0 of their games ever since, but he is now
that stadium
taking his Arsenal
is awesome.
anger out on me, is what, just to translate and whiteboard that for everybody watching at home. All right. We have some questions we want to address before we get into the big question, which is how the hell are the Bears going to stop Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen? But we have a few days to break down that deal. I wanted to get back at since you're here, Carmi. The more and more I've looked at some of the film, and Justin played better, but then he still misses the shot downfield. But then the head coach says that they were telling him not to look downfield on that play. So one of the questions I want to discuss is: are the Bears overcoaching Justin Fields right now? Do they need to just let him play, be Justin Fields?
In this offense, I think you've got no choice but to overcoach because there's so much that goes into everything. The way that this offense has been described to me by some coaches and stuff that I've had discussions about it with is it's not super complicated as far as the concepts that are run, but there's a lot of window dressing that comes on there based on either what you see from the defense or trying to disguise what you're trying to do, all that other stuff. So you have to, I feel like they're just throwing too much at Justin, and they're trying to compensate for that by coaching him pretty the micromanagerially, if that's not a word, but that's okay. It's I don't know. I think they need to take it back down a little bit and maybe get him going with some of the easier throws, maybe not put so much window dressing on right away, and just you're going to be a little more transparent to the defense, but I think starting slower and building up to what it can be is the answer. But again, Getsy's a first-time play caller. That's also, I think, something in here too, where it's how much do I give to my quarterback? And without Justin having a full understanding of this offense, I think that it's hard to not overcoach.
Sometimes it seems to me like they still don't know what they have in Justin Fields.
I don't think they do.
Well, I don't think
great read of what his strengths are or what he can do or what they want him to be. And it does go back to the point that Carmen was making yesterday, is this is still a 17-game season. They're 4 games into a new administration. Everyone is still getting to know each other. But it's what was all the offseason for?
But, it's so hard because you cannot
simulate the gameplay, right.
And you can't simulate what defenses are trying. These days, defenses can audible too. You don't know what the defense is going to do until you get it out there, or you get out there. That's the thing. I've harped on this, I feel a lot recently, but it's just the process, I get that people are getting a little antsy and a little impatient, but it's so hard to learn an entirely new system. Like, no one has immediate success. And like, I was part of a Bucs team where they brought Tom Brady in and then went to the Super Bowl that first year. Yeah. But when I tell you that Tom Brady was playing live action Madden for the first half of the year because he did not know the offense, like that's a real thing that happened that nobody, like, people don't talk about as much but like Tom Brady is one of one in that he can do that. Maybe Aaron Rodgers could do that, but like that's it.
And I think that's fine, but just to see like this low level of output from the offense on the first 4 games is concerning. Like, you look at other pairings, Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury were able to do something pretty quickly. Like the Chargers with Justin Herbert. But how much of that
was relying on Kyler's, athletic ability and kind of going off script and doing stuff like that?
Which is what they can do with Justin Fields.
Kind of what Justin Fields can do.
Yeah.
And I think the frustrating thing for me, and by the way, we got some breaking news that we got to talk about here too, but part of the frustrating thing to me is I saw so much of Justin Fields at Ohio State a couple times in person with Northwestern playing them when I'm standing, 20 yards from the guy. He's throwing bombs. He is a downfield passer. I think that's one of the biggest differences between him and Mitch Trubisky, the last young quarterback was here, was Mitch struggled to throw downfield. Justin is that guy. They need to unlock that. And I'm okay if he throws some interceptions along the way in doing so. But they need to let him be that guy. And I think that there is so much of like drilling into his head right now what they want coached that at some point they got to let him loose. All right, here's the news. Cody Whitehair placed on injured reserve. Which I was kind of expecting.
Yeah.
It's good that he won't be out for the year, according to Matt Eberflus. He said that the other day. But he is being put on injured reserve, so he will miss a minimum of 4 games. That is a loss, a big loss. We can talk about the specifics of that in a moment. The other part of the news is wide receiver N'Keal Harry has been designated to return from IR.
21-day window.
So
he is now a 3
week. I'm making my waiver claim in. Hold on.
Yeah, good luck with that. He has now 3 weeks to practice before. I mean, he can be activated technically this week if he was ready, but I think that's a stretch. But he is allowed to now practice for 3 weeks, and then the Bears have that time to decide whether or not to actually take him off IR, or then if they don't, he is out for the year at that point. So maybe some help coming from the wide receiver perspective. Personally, my expectations are still relatively low for N'Keal Harry. Let's not forget, like, he barely practiced before he suffered this ankle injury. Right. So he's had all the meetings and the mental reps, and hopefully he understands the offense a little bit more now. But he's had very little practice time in this scheme.
Right.
No other lottery tickets that Ryan Poles purchased at that position have come in, so I'm not sure why Harry would. But
now, one interesting wrinkle.
No.
We are, let me do the math. From right now, I don't know, 2.5 weeks out. Is that right? From the Bears playing the Patriots on Monday Night Football in Foxborough.
So is he eligible for that?
Well, he's eligible. He could be taken off and play Sunday against the Vikings.
Yes.
If they choose to do so, I would assume he's not going to be ready.
I don't think so.
And then you have a short turnaround to Washington.
Right.
But then you have kind of a mini bye and some time in between there, about a week and a half, till you have to go to Foxborough. So the team that drafted him, maybe that's where he makes his Bears debut.
I like this dude's thoughts in the chat. Move Harry to left guard, you cowards.
Hey, Ron Burgundy.
He's a big dude.
Burgundy. Is he a Wisconsin guy? Ron Burgundy.
Must be.
Burgundy. That's a good name. I mean, he might be your best option at left guard right now.
Yeah, it's I'm just beginning to think we're never going to see Lucas Patrick come in at center because
let's talk about that because that was going to be my next question.
Right. Like, Eberflus said last week that it would be for now. I thought that Sam Musfer was going to be at center.
All right, based on what you've seen, who are you? If you're the head coach, who are you starting at center against the Vikings?
If Lucas Patrick is healthy, I don't know how healthy he is. That's my problem.
Well, he doesn't have anything on his hand anymore.
Yeah, but I still think that there's a difference when you're snapping. If not between not having something on your hand and actually being able to snap. But at the same time, like, I get it too. He has no rapport with Justin yet because he hasn't practiced snapping to Justin.
I've seen a long snap with a broken finger before.
Yeah.
You can get the snaps off. I'm sorry. I think as long as there's not a club on that hand, which is what he was dealing with the first. Obviously, you cannot snap with a club.
Yes.
You need your fingers. But if your fingers are accessible, there is a way to snap. I'm sorry. You can do it. And part of the problem for me right now, it's not just that Sam Mustipher is struggling at center. It's that Lucas Patrick's not playing that well at guard either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're moving him too. Like, he was rotating at right guard. Now you're going to move him to left guard. So he's switching sides. That's not super easy to do. Like, everyone likes to say, like, you can do that, but there are very few offensive linemen that can do that effectively and not, like, drop off in talent. I think that you still get him back to center. I want him back at center. It doesn't seem like this coaching staff wants that.
I just think there's a chance, Kevin, that the O-line could be better off with solidifying the center position. Now you have Tevin Jenkins, who, in my opinion, based on how I've graded the film, Cody Whitehair has been your best offensive lineman. Easily. And that's a big loss. So this sucks, by the way, because
yeah. I'll be interested to see if Braxton Jones, like, drops off a little bit too, because he's been playing next to Cody.
Yeah, he had kind of an up and down game the other day too,
Yeah.
and it's kind of honestly he's having kind of a rookie season. I think it's been mostly good, but it's been up and down a little bit. But then your next best offensive lineman to me has been Tevin Jenkins, so at least he has to play now. Whatever games they've been playing there, like, you have no choice. You have to play him now 100% of the snaps. So maybe right guard is better this week overall. If you make that move with Lucas Patrick, I think you have an upgraded center. The question is, how big is the downgrade then at left guard? But I'd rather solidify 2 positions than have 3 that are kind of in flux, which is, I think, what we've been seeing.
Yeah. I think it's good to change things up. I mean, obviously, things have not been great in the pass protection, so let's just hit the slot machine and see what you come up with. My question for you is, you kind of talk about Lucas Patrick. I think he's underperformed. Obviously he's had the injury, but we've had new GM, new coach, new offensive coordinator, and they all kind of brought in their guys from a previous stop. Lucas Patrick from Green Bay, Byron Pringle from Kansas City, El-Kadin Muhammad from Indianapolis. None of these guys have really panned out. Is that concerning?
Yeah.
You think?
Because you would think, like, hey, I'm coming here and I'm bringing this guy because I like this guy and I think I can get something from him.
Yeah.
Now EQ, I think, has been all right from a pass blocking kind of.
Actually, this was the first week where I felt like EQ did nothing. I actually thought he had a pretty good debut for the first.
Of all the known guys that were kind of brought in from the other stops, he's been maybe.
But I kind of understand your reaction, Carmen, because it's like a lot of these guys, I think, are just sort of placeholders.
Right.
Yeah, like, it's not like you took a world beater from all of these teams and, like, stuck him into a functioning, like, most of those guys were offensive, like a functioning system. Like, if you had I don't know, my thing too, which is why I'm so adamant about wanting Patrick at center, is because he has the most experience there, and, like, when you have a young quarterback, to also have a young center, to also have a first-time play caller, like, there is just youth all the way down the line. And so I want someone that has a little bit of, experience. And, like, Lucas Patrick started all of last year, and then, like, was basically a rotational guy before that.
Yep.
So, but he was snapping to Aaron Rodgers. And so you have to think that he picked up on some things there. Mm-hmm. But, like, you want someone that's more experienced to be the one to make the checks, to be the one to make the identifications, all that kind of stuff.
And there were breakdowns last week. There were multiple times you had a free runner come up the middle, and part of that's on the quarterback, part of that's on the center. But
a lot of that.
You have to get the protection calls right.
Exactly. And so I think that that's where you're seeing, like, that's why it's just not a good pairing when you have a young center and a young quarterback. Like, you need experience somewhere. And then again, you have a young, like, play caller. You have a first-time play caller too at the offensive side of the ball.
The last question I have as we flip to defense, that I think it's kind of come up the last few weeks, but you have to start to wonder now through 4 games if Kyler Gordon just has too much on his plate right now.
Yeah.
Do they need to pull that back and limit him to one position instead of having him play both?
Who would you rather play nickel?
I mean, I think that's the problem.
Right.
But, I mean, one option is just to have him concentrate on playing nickel. Now, that limits his snaps, because then he comes off the field when you're in base, but that's not a lot of the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're in your sub packages way more than you're in base at this point in the league. I do think that you put a lot on him because the nickel position is a really, really hard position to play just on its own.
Yeah.
And then if you're, I mean, honestly, like the easier of the two is the outside corner position. But I just don't know who else you slot in at nickel. So I still think that nickel's still, it's a tough position to play. There's a lot you have to read.
I thought Greg Braggs had a good point on Monday night.
I love that. Yeah, the great clip up on CHGO Sports right now.
Yeah, on the After Dark show about, it's like, if their approach with Kyler Gordon seems to be like, okay, we're throwing everything at you, we're going to let you go play. Like,
baptism by fire.
Why isn't that the case with Justin Fields?
Yes. I talked about that a little bit, yesterday.
I mean, I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
You know, and I get it's different positions, but there's still two key positions on both sides of the ball, and it does seem to be, a different approach for two young players. The one who's kind of going through or being given a little bit more freedom, it seems like, is the rookie.
Yeah.
Justin's a second-year player.
Yeah, it's still a new system.
Yeah.
I feel like I see your point. I just don't know that you can take that same more cavalier approach with a quarterback when that's the most important position on the field. Like he can that directly. I mean, not that Kyler Gordon doesn't directly dictate if you win or lose games, but like a quarterback really can dictate whether you win or lose.
It's just such a thin unit. I mean, Gordon's got to be out there.
Yeah.
And I'm fine taking the lumps as long as he's growing. Like they talk about in hockey, like for a top pairing defenseman, those guys need 200 games before they can even consider, whether or not they're successes or not.
Yeah. Same thing in baseball. You need, what do they say, 1,500 at bats?
Right. So obviously, like, the NFL is a different beast, and they don't have as many games, and there's the pressure to win from year to year is so much more than maybe other sports. But I think we're just gonna have to be patient this entire year.
And I thought we had that. I thought we all had that understanding coming into this season. I said this yesterday, and it's on my Twitter. Like, I thought that we're coming into the first game. Winning that first game could have been the worst thing to happen to the Bears because it gave people hope that we're like, oh yeah, we could win 9 games this season. No, that was not that.
I think the offseason is so long, and we talk ourselves into things that we probably wouldn't if we just didn't have months and months of downtime,
Sure.
right? Like, oh yeah, Travis Gibson's going to be the next Khalil Mack, like that sort of thing. Like,
I don't know that anybody said that.
Did they? Yeah, I was gonna say. Did they?
I spent more time on Bears Twitter than you do.
Oh no. Okay, on Bears Twitter, yeah, I think that was probably said.
I mean, you talked yourself into 9 wins.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. Well, but then I backed off that right away and said it should have been 8-9.
Okay.
But
I took a lot of heat for saying that they would have 7 wins, which I still think was generous.
I mean, I did bet the over. This is the first.
I hated that 6.5 over under. I steered clear. I mean, I thought
the reason why I liked it is everybody bet the under.
Yeah.
All the money's on the under.
I was waiting for 5.5, never saw it, and
it's only been 4 weeks.
I know.
They could still do it. There was a comment up there earlier. I inject it into the screen. Let's put it that way.
Which one?
Start Jack Sanborn. It was farther up. There it is.
Wisconsin guys.
I think Jack Sanborn is actually going to be the full-time Wisconsin coach next year.
Oh yes, he'll be the DC when Jimmy.
Leonard is just Leonard is just a placeholder for Sanborn.
Jack Sanborn's brother's on the team, by the way.
Is he?
Yeah, plays special teams. But here's the thing about this. I'm actually being serious about this. So why is it that you can have all these other rookies playing, but like this guy did nothing but ball out in the preseason to the point that you kept him on the 53 over Joe Thomas? Right. And I understand that Joe Thomas is the veteran, but since you brought Joe Thomas back up, you've now played him and started him over Jack Sanborn the last 2 weeks with Matt Adams being out. I don't understand that.
I mean, do they think of him just exclusively as someone that helps on special teams? That he they don't want to put the vet on special teams because no vet wants to play special teams?
He sure seemed to be all over the field in the preseason. I understand it's the preseason, but he was all over the field making plays. And I'd be fine with it if it wasn't showing up as Joe Thomas was one of my lowest graded players on Sunday. Yeah. He's missing tackles. He's not in the right spot. I'm all aboard on that one. Like, if we're gonna play these rookies and we're gonna sink or swim with the rookies, why isn't Jack Sanborn playing?
It's a fair question. Future Hall of Famer Jack Sanborn deserves better.
Thank you. Thank you. Also, we're talking about the Sam linebacker position. He's not on the field that much.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here saying he should play 100% of the snaps. I'm saying that when they're in base,
Right,
let
he
the
can
rookie play.
Let him be in
See what
base.
you got.
Yeah, I agree. I like him a lot.
Bells there says Samber must be having bad Wednesday practices in reference to Tevin Jenkins, that awful Wednesday he had. All right, hey, this football season, PointsBet is bringing you a better way to bet live on games. That means before this ad is over, you can place a live same-game parlay, bet on the next drive to be a touchdown, and cash out on your live second-half overbet. So whether you're on the move or on the couch, do it live on PointsBet. Download the PointsBet app today. Sign up with code CHGO to get your first 2 bets risk-free up to $2,000. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
I want to tell everyone about Greenridge Farms. Greenridge Farm is a Chicago local meat and cheese company that's offering you a better all-natural option. They are makers of all-natural deli meat, sausages, and their famous meat sticks. They're perfect for tailgating, happy hour, school lunches. These all-natural meat sticks are hardwood smoked for 8 hours with 16 grams of protein per stick. They also make a perfect post-workout snack. Meat sticks come in chicken, black forest beef, and flavors like jalapeno cheddar and spicy chili. If you haven't tried them yet, you don't know what you're missing. They've been here in the office. We've had them at tailgates. They are pretty awesome, and I do love the fact that they're from Chicago. So
I'm getting hungry just listening.
I know.
I know.
Me too. I didn't eat much.
Every
Getting
time we do a
ready.
Greenridge Farm ad, I'm like, God, I'm starving.
Every Greenridge Farm.
every time I read this, right,
The
I
meat
hear
sticks
this.
are just, they're good.
Yeah,
Can't deny it.
I do try to limit the times that I say meat sticks, but you
That
know.
makes sense.
makes me think of the fish song Meat Stick.
No.
Should
See,
I sing that right
No.
now?
No.
Anyway, Greenridge Farm is delicious because they are made from recipes generations in the making, and being all natural, they deliver a fresh and flavorful alternative at snack time. You can always find them in the refrigerated section at Costco, Sam's Club, or in your local Chicagoland grocery store. Right now, when you order any 3 meat products at greenridgefarm.com, that's no S, and include a pack of meat sticks in your cart, those meat sticks will be free simply by using the code CHGO at checkout. That's a pretty awesome deal. So
Free sticks of meat.
Greenridge Farm,
Sticks of
simply natural meat.
Can I ask you guys a question
Yeah.
about the defense? One player in particular. When do we start worrying about Robert Quinn?
Yeah. So,
We knew this could happen.
yeah.
I
mean,
asked
we-
him
We pretty much knew he wasn't going to come anywhere close to 18 and a half sacks again.
'Cause
I think I said it as 10 would be a big victory.
I asked him in the preseason and during training camp what his thoughts were about switching back to a 4-3, because that's where he spent most of his career with the Rams. And he was like, "Oh, this is like coming home."
Yeah.
So I'm like, while I didn't think that 18 and a half sacks was could be replicated, he kind of gave off the impression like, yeah, he was really stoked about returning to a 4-3 defense. Like that's where he's really made a lot of his career and bread and butter and all that. And I don't, he's being rendered pretty ineffective up until this point.
Yeah, I have him through 4 games as a fringe starter.
Not great.
That's
So-
the grade.
There's just not been enough production. You know, when he's going up against Laramie Tunsil, I'm like, okay, bad matchup. That happens. You know, that's gonna be a thing in some weeks. But against the Giants, I'm still stunned that they lost the sack battle 6-1.
Yeah, it was a
in
lot.
that game.
It was a lot.
When the Giants couldn't protect at all. They couldn't get sacks coming into the game. They only had 3 coming into the game, got 6. So, you know, I think this was the fear. On one hand, like you said, Carmi, good thing he's moving back to a 4-3. And again, he played pretty damn well in the last
In
defense
3-4,
last
right.
year. And this has been the theme of his career. He is a very good pro. He's going to go down as a very good professional football player. But he has been inconsistent. He has had up and down years.
Yeah.
And it's usually one up, one down, one
Yeah.
up, one down, one up, one down. And that's kind of been his career.
That's why he left the Rams in the first place, right? Because they switched systems, and then he wasn't effective at all. And then he,
That's
you know,
right. Yep.
That's why I was like, as much as like he's a great player, and I broke the franchise sack record, all that other stuff. I was like, trade him before this season because his stock is never going to be higher.
Right. I don't think that Poles saw like something out there that was worth doing.
Yeah.
But obviously you want him to rebound, and maybe a contender out there thinks maybe Quinn can take him to the next level. He needs to produce here in the next few games.
Right, but I'm not ruling that out. I'm not saying you can't get a late round pick, especially when you get, down to the deadline where you have to make a move if you're a team. Okay, fine, we'll give you a 6th round pick for Robert Quinn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this idea that, and this hope, which I thought was at least within the realm of possibilities, that Robert Quinn could ball out to start the season. You can actually get something even better than that. We saw the Von Miller deal. Granted, he's not Von Miller, but there was a world where I thought that was possible, but not if he's going to be playing like this. Then it becomes what you said, Kev, which is, all right, who's out there, who's available? Robert Quinn, he can help us. He gives us another body. Yeah. Maybe he'll be a little bit more motivated playing for
a contender.
And then you're like, fine, we can part with a 6th round pick. But I don't think you're giving up a lot for him at this point.
No.
Which is tough. So we will check in with Nicholas Moriano from Hallis Hall coming up. The Bears press conferences are going on right now, I think. There was one note. Oh, Jalen Johnson's still day-to-day. So I think we're 3 weeks on day-to-day. Remember, as we did our Eberflus translations yesterday, you weren't here, Carmen, but we determined that day-to-day means 1 month. And we're getting close to that with Jalen Johnson.
Like if you thought that he was going to be out 4 weeks, you'd put him on IR. But I don't know, do you even really at this point need the spot?
Maybe Eberflus is just a really hopeful guy. He's like, man, I think he'll be fine in like 3 days. So we're going to call him day to day. And then like 3 weeks later, it's like, damn, he's still hurt?
Yeah. They listed him as questionable 2 weeks ago, and then last week he was ruled out.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Maybe there was a setback.
But he didn't even practice during that time.
It could be a setback in the rehab process, too.
I think that's just more gamesmanship. Remember, J.J. Watt had a calf injury yesterday, or last week.
Correct.
That was actually
a heart attack.
Attack. I love the NFL.
That was so and then to see his press conference afterwards and he's crying and stuff, and I'm like, if you were that scared, maybe you shouldn't play.
Yes.
He's talking about how he has a baby on the way, and he's like, I'm like, if you were like,
then don't play football for 1 week.
Or retire. Good Lord.
And if Tom and Giselle are breaking up over Tom coming back to play 1 more year, what is JJ Watt's wife thinking?
Well, she's an athlete.
Hold on.
Too.
I know she's probably
wired
Red Star.
She's wired like that too.
Current Red Star.
Current Red Star?
I thought she's.
I don't think she's still here.
I don't think she's here.
Oh, Julie Ertz left, right?
Yeah, I think Kaylee's just been injured.
Oh, I'm gonna look up where Kalia is.
I can't say her first name, so I didn't say
she's
it.
out on maternity leave.
Kelia.
Kalia Watt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm very bad at pronouncing things, so a lot of times I'll just.
That's fine.
Just say.
Just talk around it.
Kalia. Yeah. No, she is. Yeah, obviously on maternity leave, but she is still a Chicago Red Star, which we love. But she's probably wired like that too. It's crazy. That's the most stark example of how these athletes are wired.
Yeah,
and it's completely different because I'm just.
I heard Patrick Manley was on the Score yesterday. He had a similar story where he went in AFib during the practice week, went to the hospital, got shocked back into place, played on Sunday.
That stuff is worrisome.
No, thank you, please.
And it was funny because Dan Bernstein was like, "What is wrong with you? Why?"
Right.
But
it's easy for us civilians to say that.
So I have a question. When do we get our own Justin Jefferson? Aren't you just extremely jealous? Obviously he's
not yet. I think
possibly a
next year.
generational player, right?
Right.
I'm just still amazed that they just traded Stephon Diggs away, and then they're like, "Okay, we'll just draft the next one."
Yeah.
And it worked.
It worked so well.
It was amazing. I mean, it was a tremendous pick. He's so good. It helps, obviously, because we talked about potentially Mooney, his ceiling being Stephon Diggs, that type of player. But, Adam Thielen's one of the most important players on that offense.
I was going to say, I don't know that
the fact that he's turned Thielen into an afterthought is incredible.
Right.
Yeah, because he's
Like,
still
oh,
good, by
yeah.
the way, Adam Thielen.
He is.
I mean, how
coming through
worried
on
are you?
third down.
Worried are you for Sunday?
Very.
I do not. I have looked at this matchup a lot, and I don't want to just like ruin the next 5 days of content, right? Because we still have preview episodes and a pregame show on Sunday. But it's like I do not know how the Bears are going to stop the Vikings.
No.
Short of switching the game to prime time, and then maybe that
And then
effect that
Kirk
it has on
Cousins
Kirk
throws the
Cousins.
ball 7 times.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
The only.
That's it though. It's takeaways.
Yes.
That's literally to me the only way that they find a
Field
way
position.
to keep the Vikings from scoring is they just have one of those games where they take the ball away 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, or you have Darius Slay that can shut down Justin Jefferson by himself. Like there's very few people that can do that. And
I mean, they need Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson needs to come back.
Right.
He's not there.
Right, and he needs
Not
to
great.
rise to the level that he was against Cooper Kupp.
Yeah. I because it's just first of all take away the options they have throwing the ball to, but they can't stop the run.
No.
I mean, the Vikings could just hand the ball off to Dalvin Cook the whole game, and I don't know if the Bears are going to even touch the ball. Unless they score too fast.
Yeah.
Which might happen because the way the Bears are. I would say right now, like a lot of the things that we thought with this Bears team, especially on offense, like we're not really surprised. We're not surprised that they're not pass protecting very well.
Right.
We're not surprised that there's not a whole lot of options to throw the ball to. I think we're a little surprised that Justin Fields has struggled the way he has.
For sure.
And maybe there's not a little bit more answers provided right now from the offensive coordinator. But of anything that I'm surprised by, it's been the tackling and just the lack of discipline on defense.
Yeah.
Like,
with what we were sold on the hits principles.
On the hits principle.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they're overdoing it. Like they're almost rallying to the ball too much to the point that it's like, I talked about this yesterday, where they're just playing like a game of hidden football. You think the ball's over here? No, it's over there.
Yeah.
Because you have 9 guys rallying to this side, and it's too easy to lose the edge, lose the eye discipline, and all of a sudden the ball's over there.
That's my thing too, is I think that guys are worried more about where the ball is at all times, and then that's what's eating into like their eye discipline and like on their assignments, their actual assignments. It's like, all right, take care of your assignment first and then figure out where the ball is. Like you can't, unless you can do it, peripherally or whatever. But I think that that's probably something that could be entering into it too. Also, they're young though.
So Nick had a tweet that they're taking the pads off today to help keep guys fresh already. Like, is this early already for that?
Yeah, well, so first of all, there's a rule on that.
Yeah.
I think it's 11 weeks of the season they're allowed to have it's a certain amount of padded practices you can have. I think it's 14 the entire season.
The entire season. Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, and so that's not even the amount of weeks there are in a regular season.
Right.
And then there's a certain rule about how you can only have a certain amount per week.
So
I think only 4 weeks you can load it up with 2 padded practices in a week.
padded practices may not be held on more than 3 consecutive calendar days, and such 3-day periods may not be held more than 3 times during. Oh, that's preseason training.
Yeah, I
camp.
think that's preseason. But regardless, so there are weeks where you have no padded practices, and typically, what happens is
total of 14.
yeah.
11 of which must be held during the first 11 weeks.
That's what I was going to say. So that's why I was thinking week 11 too, because it's most of those have to. So by the time you get to December, basically,
Right.
Yeah, you're not.
You get rid of them. And what for a team, they're talking about physicality and hits principle and all this stuff. Like the fact that they're here in week 5 already, worried about pads.
It is funny too, just to, like how much the hits principle is just like, I don't know. Everybody in the media is talking about it. Like it's a pretty basic concept. Like it's not like
Thank you.
like it's not like this world changing. I don't know. Like defensive.
Wait a minute. Hustle.
Right.
Intensity.
Be intense. Oh, football.
Like
intense. Oh, okay. Oh, take the ball away and keep the ball away from the other team. No way.
I mean, it works.
This is groundbreaking stuff. Oh, and be smart.
But let's be honest. Like that line probably got Eberflus the job. Like the McCaskies hear that, and it's just like music to their ears. It's like, all right, let's go.
Every coach though,
we don't need a defensive coach because we have Justin Fields and we need to develop him. But I like what you're saying.
Every coordinator, like they have these things to help players, like remember the core principles of a defense, which is fine. Yeah. But like, it's just, I feel like the way that it's being talked about, especially in the media now, it's like, oh, hits principle. I'm like, guys, like that's meant for like a whiteboard to like, or like they do the raps and stuff in the meeting rooms. Like that's meant for that. It's not meant to just keep talking about over and over again. Like it's some groundbreaking defense.
Going back to the Planet Talk, my very eager mother just served us 9 pancakes, right?
Oh yeah, Mercury.
9 pizzas.
9 pizzas? I said pancakes.
And also, you can't have that anymore because
Pluto. Pluto's still a planet. I don't care.
Okay, we can't go back into Planet Talk. Move on. Too much Planet Talk.
And it's time now for Planet Talk on the CHGO Bears Podcast. We will be bringing in Mark
CHGO
Carmen.
Astronomy.
Yeah. Okay, now to be fair, the one difference that I do think the Bears are doing differently with this hits principle is that they're actually measuring it and grading it.
Yeah, sure.
And so that's the idea of what it is. You're right. Is
the
nothing
accountability that was lacking under Nagy. So like our guys being held accountable the last 2 weeks. Like we're going to see that.
But that's where I want to see different people on the field. Then
right.
If you're holding guys accountable, you can't just keep having the center play like crap and not make a switch. You can't keep having a guy you had on the practice squad and linebacker come in playing over a rookie who's seemingly done everything right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there has to be actual accountability and playing time. You know, guy struggles, at least put it up for a competition during the week.
Well, so
and it seemed to be the case for Tevin Jenkins. Tevin Jenkins had a bad Wednesday practice. He was playing better than Lucas Patrick. Don't care. You didn't practice well. Fine. For 1 week, I get it. But then the following week, there didn't seem to be any reward for the fact that he actually played better than Lucas Patrick.
I do wonder, because I've been a part of teams where this has been the case. There's like a mental errors board where they tally your mental errors per game and it over the season, and like there are under the table type of disciplines of like fines or like things where you have to, it all goes into a pot and then they all go out to dinner at the end, like when you're actually being fined. I don't know how effective that is in actually holding people accountable because these players are making a bunch of money. So it's like, all right, fine, I get fined for that. But that being said, there is kind of like this, I don't know what you want to call it, like dynamic around it where like people do take it seriously. Like the players do take it seriously. They don't want mental errors. And there's a pride associated with not doing that. So I wonder if that is entering into it at all, and we just don't know.
Well, I almost think that's actually more effective than fines or anything is keeping a scoreboard.
Yeah.
When your name is posted in a meeting where the entire team's there, or even if it's in your position group, whatever, and you're at the bottom of the list
with the most,
with the most errors, like that's not a place you want to be. That is a place where you are having it written right there in front of you. My job is in jeopardy, essentially.
Yeah.
So I do think that there is, and I think the Bears are doing that.
Yeah.
I think with the loafs, that's where the accountability comes in. But as I've said, for it to really harbor results, like you have to see the results sometimes. You still have to win games. So that's why I think this stretch coming up is going to be very interesting because, they are 2-2. They have won half their games so far. I think that's enough to, as long as you are getting wins in that 7-win range on the season, like I still think it can be a good thing that carries forward. What you worry about, I think, is this thing going off the rails here after what we've seen the last couple
this is not the cliff that they're facing. It's like, okay, you lose to Minnesota, you can still come back.
Yeah, that's not.
No, but it's losing to Washington.
I was going to say the Commanders.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The Commanders are the cliff.
I mean, this looks like a bleak game. I'm surprised the spread's only 7, to be honest with you. And I think part of that has to be the fact that the Vikings are in London.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it is weird that they don't have a bye week.
The NFL is experimenting with something. Like I think they're trying to like.
That's actually up to the team. My understanding is the team can request a bye week or decline it. But I think part of going to London, if you demand that your bye weeks after London, they do grant you that.
Really? I mean, then what's?
Wait, but what's weird about this? We don't have bye weeks this week.
There's no bye week for this week for the Minnesota or the Saints, and then there's no bye week for the Packers or.
But also, there's no bye weeks in the NFL yet.
Yeah.
Usually those start week 5. So I don't know what's going on with it. Maybe there is some experiment. But in the past, that's how it's been.
Yeah, I think that there's some sort of experimentation because they want to like expand the international series or something like that.
Because the Bears have never had this late of a bye week either, right?
No, and
because they've all been, the bye week was pushed back because of the extra game now. So like the window of the bye week was pushed back by a week.
I can't believe. I mean, it's like what, December 11th is their bye week?
Yeah, it is.
Crazy.
Yeah, and that's the Packers bye week too.
It's Packers bye week.
By the way, my dad wanted us to experiment with something. He wanted to see if we can sit like she sits during the show.
I thought about that. I was like, "There's just no."
I'll try it. I'll try it.
It's comfy. My feet don't touch the ground because I'm short, so that's why I usually do this.
Which means it's gonna be harder for me to get my legs in.
Should we like?
I feel like that scene
Namaste.
in
like this is like.
Yeah, what's the scene in
Can we get Casey
Walk
over
Hard?
here to take a picture?
You know what I'm talking about in Walk Hard when they're with the Beatles?
I don't think I ever saw that movie. I'm really quite
Come
honest
on.
with you.
The John C. Reilly movie?
Oh, that's a great
It's a
movie.
great movie.
Yeah,
Doing
I
Cock
know what
Story?
you're talking about. I
Paul Rudd's playing like John Lennon, and they're all sitting around like doing
I do feel
ayahuasca
like
with
this
Aaron
is-
Rodgers. That's how I pictured the Aaron Rodgers ayahuasca thing, by the way. Is that scene in Walk Hard.
Crisscross applesauce.
It's actually pretty comfortable. It's probably,
It is comfortable.
Where's
probably
Casey?
better.
Casey needs to take a picture.
I don't know.
Lawrence, can you take
I
a
was
picture?
gonna say,
I
Lauren,
can't reach my
Crisscross-
computer now, though.
You can here.
Crisscross applesauce.
Crisscross applesauce.
That's
like I said, I do it because my feet don't touch the ground when I'm
Okay.
in these chairs. So
okay. That was. They couldn't see that off.
no, yeah, I was
screen,
gonna say,
but
they took
Lawrence
a picture.
was taking a
They took-
picture.
But
of
no,
us.
back to the Bears schedule. That like, you have to win this Commanders game because then you're going through like kind of not a gauntlet. I don't want to say a gauntlet when the Patriots, but like Patriots, Cowboys, Dolphins, and then you get the Lions who are averaging 35 points a game. Then you get the Falcons.
Yeah.
But like these next few games,
it's going to get tough if you don't beat Washington. And by the way, I think the Patriots game's winnable. But
yeah,
like last week, I thought that was like actually going to turn into a win, and then they played pretty well at Lambeau. So we'll have to see. Ron Burgundy.
The problem with that, it's Matt Eberflus versus Bill Belichick. So.
Yes.
yeah,
that is true.
yeah.
Ron Burgundy doesn't like that we have our shoes on the couch, which is a fair point.
Oh, his mother is yeah.
I usually abide by that rule, but we're also in nobody's home right now. We're just
No, we're in the studio.
in our
I
studio.
also, I mean, did you guys grow up? Like my grandparents had the
plastic?
the plastic on the
Yeah.
couches. Yeah, that was I felt like it was probably a very like
It's
immigrant thing.
It's
My
a very
grandparents were all
Italian
immigrants.
thing. My grandma,
so-
Grandma Benedetto had that.
Yeah,
on her
Nona
couch,
Benedetto.
a couch is supposed to be comfortable. Sitting on plastic is not comfortable. It's defeating the purpose of the couch.
But that was the sitting room couch. Like there was then the family room where like no one cared because no one actually went in there.
But it's
that's
the
where you watch
sitting
TV.
room.
So did your
You're supposed
grandparents
to
have like a
sit.
2-flat or a bungalow? Like,
Yeah, well, I had one set of grandparents that had like almost a 2-flat.
Right.
They had actually owned the building. and
spotty
they
air
lived in
conditioning
one.
if they had it all, so that
Yeah.
plastic was very sweaty. And
There was like a den that was like the place where you actually hung out and watched TV, and then like there was the living room,
Yeah.
which was the sitting room, which had
The
all
front room.
plastic. The front room, right? The front room.
All right, I'm going to need a diagram, I think. All right, we're going to talk to Nicholas Moriano here in a moment, but first want to make sure you guys know that Game Time is the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. If you're looking for something to do on this is a nice day. And as mad as I am at the White Sox, it'd be a good day to just go out and enjoy the last experience in the sun in the ballpark, because even by the time next season starts, it'll probably be June before you have a day like this
For sure.
to actually do it. So Game Time might be the place you want to go. It should be the place you want to go right now to check on deals for the game. I'm sure tickets are they're probably giving them away on there. If you've ever dreamed of sitting in a seat you never thought you could, like the 50-yard line, courtside, behind home plate. Carmen gave you the tickets yesterday for the Bulls game that were right down there by the floor for like whatever it was. It was pretty cheap.
I was checking out Muse is playing Riviera next,
Ooh,
the 11th.
really?
Yeah, and like pretty decent deals. I mean, it's expensive because Muse is playing such a small venue.
Yeah.
But I was like, I might have to pull the trigger on that.
That sounds kind of nice. So concerts too. It says right here, floor seats at a concert. You can get that with the Game Time app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you thought you could never buy. You will not find a better deal this season. This is an app created by the fans for the fans, and it guarantees the lowest price. So if you love CHGO, you're going to love Game Time. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description right here on the video. Join over 15 million people who have downloaded the Game Time app and score the best seats to all your favorite events. All right. Do we have Nick?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Game Time app. But yes, we do have Nick. Let's just see if we can get him on here. Give me a second.
Nick is at Hallis Hall.
Nick is at Hallis Hall. Nick, can you hear us?
Hello?
Wait, Nick, I thought I heard you, and then you didn't.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
there we go.
There we go.
Hey!
Yay!
What's up, Nick? He gone.
Oh, no,
Oh,
Nick.
no.
He's kind of, he is freezing.
Oh, just listening. You know how Justin Fields...
Nick, I can tell you exactly what's going on. You went outside. You're probably still connected to the Wi-Fi. It's probably iffy because you are outside. So you probably want to disconnect your phone from the Wi-Fi or go inside.
Let's give him a minute.
Like live
Nick, why don't you
podcast.
hang up and then call back, please? Do it, Adam.
No, I connected to the hotspot.
Oh,
Hot
there
spot,
you go.
hot spot. Hot route.
can hear you
Hot
now.
route.
All righty.
We can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm
Nick, are you
on the
sitting?
hotspot, you guys. So they had an event going on inside House Hall, so outside it went.
All right.
Are
Well,
you sitting cross-legged, Nick?
Yeah.
Try crossing your legs.
maybe it'll improve that Wi-Fi.
I
signal.
am not, but I see Adam is, and maybe that'll get the connection better.
Yeah, I like it. All right. What's the headline from Maddie Eberflus today? Silence. Yep.
Yeah, Nick, this is
Well,
not going
obviously,
well.
you guys saw Cody
not-
Whitehair goes on IR, and all right, I'll try coming back on, but there's an event going inside House Hall. That's why I'm outside.
Got
I
it.
kicked him out.
They kicked him out.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just let's try again because that's not going very well.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
Okay. Well,
Hopefully
we'll try to
we'll do better.
reconnect with Nick in a second. I didn't see any tweets from even Justin Fields' press conference. So
Yeah, I know. That's what I was.
that's why I was curious.
Maybe
to
it's a
see.
closed press conference.
Maybe that's the event.
Said it's a closed press conference.
Or did they move it? I don't know what's going on right now with that at Hallis Hall. But all right. What other than takeaways in the meantime as we talk about this? Carmen, what else can the Bears do to stay in this game against the Vikings? I mean, you've seen the Vikings, you're covering the NFC North
Yeah,
for Fox Sports.
You're gonna have to get to Kirk Cousins some way or another. I think that's the Vikings haven't had much of a pass rush this season, so I think that you got maybe an opportunity there, unless this is the game that they turn it on. But no, offensively, you're gonna have to get to Kirk Cousins. You're gonna have to figure it out, and how to get pressure on him.
How's their offensive line been? Because that was like the one question about their offense.
Yeah, it's been fine. I think that they're still trying to get the run game going a little bit more, and balance that out a little bit. They haven't been too terribly good in run blocking, but as far as giving Kirk the time that he needs, they've been fine. They've been good. I think they've been serviceable.
Let's try it again. Let's see if we can get Nick from Hallis Hall. Nick, do you want to talk to us? Give us a shot here.
I hope so. Is it working better this time?
There we go. Nice
Yay.
and clear. Nick from
Cool,
Hallis
cool.
Hall. Wait, did Justin Fields talk?
Adam, kind of. He went back. So the whole don't want to be robotic and want to show a little bit more emotion. That was a one-time thing. Because today it was back to the one-word answers, not getting very informative with anything. He didn't want to be here today. It was clear as day from how he looked, the answers he gave. Justin wasn't having it today in terms of answering questions, actually providing context for anything that people had questions about.
I was gonna say because I haven't seen a single tweet from Justin Fields' press conference. I'm like, did he even have the press conference? What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, he did, and we tried to get some clarification on, what does a guy like N'Keal Harry do for this offense? And he said, he's a guy that's a bigger body, have a chance against those smaller DBs, it gives them an opportunity to throw more of those 50-50 balls that we haven't really seen up to this point through 4 games. So he did talk about that. He also talked about the 4 verticals play where Darnell Mooney's open in the middle of the field. He said Mooney did run the route according to what it was last year, like the same exact type of play. And on that one, he's just doing what he's coached to do. If you see that coverage, you go run, or you either dump the ball off to the running back then flat, but he takes the run, gets 12. So he's doing what he's coached to do. He was also asked about red zone execution or lack thereof in this last game against the Giants. And he said this week was really the only week we really didn't do what we wanted to do in the red zone. And we just need to execute better from everybody to get better in that part of the field there.
What about
and that was
Matt?
it.
Give us an idea of the state of the offensive line right now. Matt Eberflus, we know, acknowledging that Cody Whitehair went on IR.
He did, but he also said that there is a chance for him to come back this season. Didn't call it season ending, which, maybe is a positive sign for Cody Whitehair, but he did go on IR. And as he said on Monday, still status quo with how that offensive line ended. And that first game is what maybe you're expecting. We talked about it in yesterday's show, Adam. Like, we'll see how that plays out. He was asked about Justin Jefferson, who I'm sure, is on everybody's radar going against the Vikings this week. And he says when you have a team that's got 2 good running backs and a true number 1, you said you have to weigh doubling like a guy like that. And you have to just pick and choose your battles because they've been gashed in the run game and you have a wide receiver like that. So he knows the struggles it's going to put on his defense to kind of cover a guy of his caliber.
So big game for Adam Thielen then.
Right.
If you're doubling Justin Jefferson.
So start Adam Thielen in your fantasy lineups this week.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we need to know from those press conferences, Nick?
Yeah, so he was also asked about just the wide receivers in general and, what can you do? What do you have to see more of in terms of that unit to really get going? He said it's just continued rhythm and timing. He mentioned, we got Darnell Mooney involved last week against the Giants. St. Brown's been doing some good things for the offense all season. So he just said continued rhythm and timing is what's going to get that group going. And he was also asked about Eddie Jackson, if he was hitting his stride. And, he said he is. He goes back to training camp, how he was, practicing throughout that period of the off season there, and said he's in the best shape of his life. So a ball hawking safety. And he said he's a guy that does both things well because we've seen Eddie Jackson come more in the box a little bit, making those plays at the line of scrimmage. And he said he's a safety that's definitely capable of doing that.
Could you read between the lines at all, Nick, about N'Keal Harry? So he has a 3-week practice window here coming off of IR. But how long it might actually take for him to get on the field. Did he give any indication of where Harry's at with the offense and, what's realistic?
Yeah, so obviously, this Sunday, I would just rule out N'Keal Harry, and he kind of is we'll have to wait and see if he can play. And it kind of sounded like, all right, definitely not this week. And it's just going to take what Justin Fields did kind of talk about, rhythm and timing for him to get sped up with the offense. But he does see the potential there, and a guy that is a big body receiver, likes how he looks physically right now. And he called him unique. And then 2 seconds later, he said, but everybody's unique. So again, nobody's unique. But yeah, it doesn't seem like this is going to be the week for N'Keal Harry, and just has to get, sped up with the offense, how his timing is with Justin Fields. But he says physically, he's looking good right now.
All right.
That makes sense.
Anything else, guys? No. All right, Nick. Appreciate it. Good stuff. We'll I know you'll have stuff from the locker room later, and of course tomorrow, Nick and Will have the Bears Vikings preview show at noon right here on the CHGO Bears Podcast. So we'll let you go, Nick. Talk to you later.
All right, you guys.
There he is, Nicholas Moriano from Hallis Hall. Make sure you're following him on Twitter at Nicholas Moriano. We're out of time, guys. Any final thoughts?
We'll see.
Take the Vikings on the
Take Adam Thielen.
alternate spread, -10.
Put Adam Thielen.
So Carmen and I were the only people that picked the Giants last week. And we caught a lot of guff for it. I think probably across the board, everyone's going to be picking the Vikings, though.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to be out on an island.
We'll see. Maybe Corey Wooden will come out of nowhere and be
Except for Kyler Gordon.
Oh, boy. Poor Kyler Gordon.
That's a good one. Good way to end the show. Hey, a couple quick little super chats. Just Call Me ID threw us $1.99, but actually didn't ask a question, so that's easy to answer there. And then Tana So Lit, $5 super chat. Hey, panel. Love your content. Just showing some love. Hashtag respect.
Thank you, Tana.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tana.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Sweet Bulls hat, too.
Love the Bulls hat.
Greg Braggs had a comment in there, too, that they should just lock Dalvin Cook in the equipment room.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then my dad was in the comments, too. He's blaming Nick's problems on the fact that he owns a camera, not a phone.
I like that one.
So
the Bears have not done. I pulled it up. The Bears have actually not done that poorly against Dalvin Cook over the years.
They've also had pretty good defensive lines recently and stopped the run. Now they would get a little bit more leaky. Last year they got more leaky. Really, is Akeem Hicks. When Akeem Hicks wouldn't play, there'd be a significant difference.
I'm gonna offer up a contradictory fact to what you just said.
Okay.
Hashtag facts.
In his past 4 versus Chicago, he has 130.3 yards per game and 11 rushing touchdowns.
It's gotten better more recently.
And 11 rushing touchdowns.
11 rushing touchdowns in his past 12 at home. That was the end of that at home, which they will be. So he has in his last.
Wait, but against the Bears, it's 133.
130.3.
In the last 4 games?
In his past 4 versus Chicago.
Against the Bears.
Yeah, against the Bears. In scrimmage yards.
Oh, scrimmage yards.
I mean, yeah, but still being pretty effective.
There was that one time where they really shut him down. And
there was that one time.
That last time that we felt really good about the Bears, when they came in, they were wearing the throwback uniforms for the first time.
Yeah.
They shut down Cousins.
I think that would have been 2019.
Yeah, September 29th, 2019.
He only had 86 scrimmage yards last week. So,
All right. Well, so instead of Akeem Hicks, it's Dalvin's father. It's funny. Okay. We're out of here. Thanks for watching on this Wednesday. Appreciate you guys very much. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Carmen B, at Carmi V. I think I just said Carmi B. I don't know why.
V is in Victor.
V is in Victor. Yeah, that's what I go with.
Or maybe I don't know what I said. And then at Kevin Kaduk, of course. We are allchgo.com. If you didn't get the newsletter, by the way, the newsletter is unlocked today for everybody.
Yeah.
So check it out. If you didn't get it in your inbox,
way to bury the lead there.
Yeah, saved it for the last 30 seconds of the show. Good promotion by me. Allchgo.com. You can go read it, though. Check it out. It is unlocked. Then you can sign up for a membership if you like it and get it in your inbox next Wednesday and throughout the entire season. So make sure you're checking that out as well. We're out of here. Check out the merch, CHGO Locker. Follow us on Twitter, also at CHGO_Bears. We will be back tomorrow at noon. Will and Nick have your preview show then. See you later.